Okay, very strange this, sitting down in here. So, I want to talk to you about the plant collection trap. I've just come in from work, by the way. This is why I'm full of gardening gear. So, no nice nails with me, no nice fancy outfit. So, the plant collection trap. This is how I see it. Everybody who starts collecting plants seems to follow what I call a continuum with perhaps maybe a pathway with various like rabbit holes, side quests or side paths along this journey towards a goal, which you actually never actually get to. That's a lot of actuallys. Start again. That you actually never get to. So you start off, you collect a few hybrids. You might decide, and in my case, 6 years ago it was orchids. And I've been through this plant collection trap many, many times and come out the other side. So I collected orchids and I bought as many as I could, loads of beautiful hybrid flowers, loads of beautiful blooms. But what I didn't take into account was that they maybe didn't all need the same conditions. So I created these conditions in the greenhouse without actually taking any care as to what the plants really needed. So as time went on, various plants died. Of course they would, because I wasn't providing the right conditions. I took no account of whether they were warm growing, cool growing, they needed a dry rest, or whether they needed lots of humidity and so on. This is one of the steps along the way, along this journey. So you do this with, it might be orchids, it might be another type of plant, another genera of plant. And eventually you realise, because your money's disappearing and your plants are dying, so you change your environment to match a particular type of orchid in this case, and then maybe you start buying to match that particular environment and things go a bit better for a while, so you buy more of them. And this is where we start going down side routes or side quests. So perhaps you buy more and more of these plants, you know the conditions they like, you can grow them, everything's fine. You get to a point where you've too many plants and you get to like this tipping point. So you get more space because what seemed like a cavernous room before is now absolutely cram-packed with plants. And of course you can't stop collecting because you're on your way to this goal that you don't really know what it will be when you get there. So you either make more space or you reach that tipping point, tip over the other side, and you can't look after them. That happened to me with the hothouse, which I'll come to in a little while. And you go on holiday, or somebody else looks after them, or whatever happens, and you get to that point, it's like, that's it, cannot deal with this anymore. I'm going to have to either sell them, or get rid of the ones that I don't like, or we're going to start again. And that is a tipping point, and you might even go off the whole idea and stop doing it for a while. Okay, so that's one little side quest that comes to a dead end. Or, in my case, I started looking at other plants because I like lots of plants. I didn't just like orchids. Even though orchids is a really, really big family, I started looking at begonias. I started looking at carnivorous plants, thanks to Brad's greenhouse. I started looking at Streptocarpus and various other things. I can't just keep to one genera of plant. So we start collecting the whole collecting thing again, and we build it up, go through the same process of deciding, we go through the same process of finding the things that we like and starting to grow them or trying to grow them, finding out that they don't actually suit your conditions, so you either change your conditions or you go to the plants that do like your conditions. That's a bit of progress, isn't it? Actually finding the plants that will suit the conditions you've got. Can we ever get to a point where all our plants are all needing different conditions and we're providing all those different conditions? Well, of course not. That would also be end of the line, start again. So eventually you get to the point where you've now got loads of different plants. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you get to that same point. You can't cope with them all. There's too many. In my case, I set up a new environment in the hothouse. It was a warm growing space where, hey, I can grow loads of warm growing plants. I did actually do it in here at one point, but it was just too expensive. I got to the point where it was so lush in there, I couldn't even find the pots. Got to that tipping point, went away on holiday, somebody come in to water them for me, as you would with a hose pipe, sprayed the whole thing. Completely fused the electricity, fused the house, so I had no heating, I had no lighting. Half the plants were sitting in big buckets of water, the ones that I'd actually put in a non-holy or a non-draining pot, so they just filled up with water. Tender plants like my beloved Begonia luxurians, anybody remember that? Tell me in the comments if you did. That died because it can't cope 2 weeks sitting in water. I actually lost about half of the plants then. Again, tipping point, fell over the other side, had to shut the whole thing down. Not to mention the cost of the electricity to heat the thing, couldn't do that. So that went, and then we had a big rest and then come back into the greenhouse again. So that's another side little quest, or another little side quest. Another little side journey that you might go down the species route. Right, all these hybrids, but they're not really plants that grow in the wild, and they are never ending. Somebody's always coming out with a hybrid. I can't keep buying more and more hybrids. Let's try species. I've done it with begonias. So I've gone into begonia species. I've seen people do it with orchids. I've seen people growing orchids from seed. I've seen people trying to do the, what do you call it? I can't remember what you call it, meristem thing, I can't remember. So yeah, started growing, and that's where it is, started growing begonias from seed, started getting back into propagation again. What do I need? I need a warm space. So I have a grow tent. By the way, I know it's not actually a grow tent. It's a mini greenhouse really. A proper grow tent keeps all the light inside, totally opaque. I didn't want that. So I'm calling it a grow tent. But guess what happens? I've run out of room. I need a bigger grow tent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one. I'm going to make one. I would actually rather buy it, but there isn't one that will fit this odd space. So I'm going to make something bigger. That's another little side quest. No doubt I'll get to the end of the line with that, where I can't afford to buy any more begonia seeds, or all my begonia seeds germinate, and guess what? I have thousands of plants and I don't know what to do with them. Another end of the line and another shutdown. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to sell the greenhouse and I'm going to build a barbecue here instead and have a nice patio where we can sunbathe in the summer. That's gone through my mind loads of times, and it went through my mind the last 8 months when I had that little hiatus. The truth is, we all go along this pathway with our plant collection, and whichever side quest you go on your journey, you think there is going to be a goal at the end. But my point is, there isn't a goal. You think there is, but that's an illusion, because the real goal of looking after plants is exactly that. The business of looking after them. And once you realise that, then it may becomes a little bit easier. What do I like doing more than anything? I like sitting in here making video. No, I don't like doing that. I like coming in here and I like mauling about, messing about with plants, sowing seeds, growing them, cutting bits off, repotting them. Look at spraying all my pests. How could I like that? It's just the looking after that I like. I'm saying pests because I can see some little fungus gnats flitting about over there, and that's grabbing my attention. So yeah, it's the looking after that we enjoy. And anybody who's a YouTuber will no doubt know, no matter what level they're at, if they're a little mini YouTuber like me, or if they're a great big YouTuber like somebody who's a great big YouTuber, no doubt they will realise that making videos is actually very unsatisfying. It doesn't, in my case, it doesn't make much money. It's only a few pounds. It takes an awful long time if you want to think about it first. If you want to write a script, no script here as you can tell. If you want to then go through and edit the whole thing, nobody might watch it. And then YouTube has this fantastic thing where they show you what you get out of your last 10 videos. Is that your best video? Is it your second best, your third best, right up to number 10? And there is nothing more disheartening than constantly getting 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 out of your last few videos. But we come back and we make some more, and that's what I've done today. But in my case, I had a full 8 months off to say, you know what, I don't need the videos. What do I actually enjoy? I enjoy coming into the greenhouse, and I enjoy mulling about with my plants, looking after them as best I can, propagating them, seeing what I can do to make them grow better, trying to solve all the different problems that comes along with growing plants. Don't forget that don't actually want to grow in the UK. None of these want to grow in the UK. People forget that, I think, sometimes. This is a very untropical place where I am growing them. So that, for me, is a very convoluted way of saying collecting plants isn't what you think it is. It is an illusion. You think you are on a journey when in actual fact it is the journey that is the goal, not what is at the end of it. Because what is truly at the end of it is, oh my God, I can't stand this anymore. I've completely let them take over my life and I'm going to stop. And as soon as you realise that, then you can get back to what is actually good about it. Yes, you will kill plants. Yes, some won't thrive. Yes, some will get loads of pests, but you can concentrate on trying to solve those problems and enjoying the process as you go along. Sometimes, as somebody pointed out, sometimes my plants look crap. Why? Because I've not looked after them. I've been doing other things. Real life gets in the way. But I'm confident that when I come in here and I start messing about with them and start trying to improve growing conditions and solve all the little problems that come along, I'm confident that I can get them growing nicely again. And if I can't, guess what? They go in the bin. That's just the way it is. And I usually don't buy them again. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I love a plant so much I keep trying with it. But most of the time I throw it away and I start again with something else. So tell me in the comments down below, where are you on the plant collection trap continuum? Are you down a rabbit hole somewhere? Is there a rabbit hole I've not thought of? What's your thoughts on this whole process? Tell me in the comments, and for now, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.